them, you're connecting with them personally. People know, like, it's not about being anti-LGBT or trans, but there are, women who are lesbian who say, we believe there's a difference between the experience of being born a woman and people who are trans. So they call those people TERFs. Why? So you can dismiss them. Because you don't want to have a debate with them because they're lesbian. They're part of the LGBT community.
Wait, what is it? What is a TERF? That's a term I've never heard before.
I believe, what's it called? I'm trying to if I can remember. TERF is trans exclusionary something females. It basically means that they're lesbians who don't believe trans women are women. That's all that is.
a subclass of a subclass.
Yes, and that's one of the things that's what got Dave Chappelle started. He's like, man, you guys are going off on the lesbians. I think that's really what is. Did you ever hear the one where he had the car, the LGBT car? Did you ever hear that one?
No.
So basically, he basically created a person for each of the LGBT people and put them in a car together.
Okay.
And he's like, you have the L's are driving, and then he says the G's are on the passenger seat, and he's just like, and then he goes, and then comes along these the Q's come along, and nobody likes them, and so they don't even get a ride in the car, and it's just it was really funny. It was, he's making a joke about that thing about how the conflicts that they have between each other, and that's where people got mad at him, because I'm seeing these people who are not lesbians, they're not gay, they call themselves bisexual, and Dave Chappelle pissed them off too, because he said, man, a lot of y'all who say you're bisexual, you're just straight, but you have a good time at the crib, They don't like this, and he was saying something that the lesbians that I know have said, that there's a difference between someone who is bisexual and a person who's trying to be sexy at a party. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, I can pretend to say, hey, me and so-and-so are dating. That doesn't make me bisexual. If I make a joke or whatever between someone who intrinsically has an attraction to both sexes. It wasn't a slam. It was just a little joke he made. A lot of people don't like that. But I've seen women who I honestly believe are 100% straight going off on the TERFs for not accepting the trans people. And I'm like, this is crazy. Well, because now you're going off on lesbians. You're going off on gay people.
And it's funny that you have all that going on. I made a statement one time years ago, and it was we were in a group of people. We had had a few drinks, so the conversation got very loose, and they started talking about how, did you know that old so-and-so, did you know he's gay? I said, well, no, he's not gay. Well, yeah, he's gay. I said, no, he's not gay. Well, he used to be married and he had kids. They said, well, yeah, but he's gay. That was all a ruse. I said, no, he's bisexual. And that person said, no, he's not bisexual. He is gay. I said, well, look, I'm here to tell you he's not gay because I said, here's what, and I got in so much trouble for this. I said, here's why he's not gay. I said, gay means attracted to men only, right? They said yes. I said, okay, I'm here to tell you I'm heterosexual. And in order for me to have sexual relations with a woman, I have to be sexually aroused. I have to get an erection so I can physically do the act to have a kid. I said, the most handsome man in the world could do anything he wants to me, and I will not get an erection. That person is bisexual. And I was lambasted. This was years ago. This was before all the politically correct stuff. This person says they're gay and they're gay. I said, no, they're just not. And I would not budge. And I probably took it too far because we had drinks, and the people who were saying things about me probably took it too far. But we all, water under the bridge, nobody cares anymore. But that was the way I looked at it.
Right. Yeah, and another example on that line, was I remember just again right before it got real bad with the cancellation. There's this woman, I've been friends with her for 20 years, but she was one of the social media stages or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's weird because she was one of these white liberals in South City who really hated rich black people. There was a whole other thing we could have for another podcast. They call them the black capitalists, and they hate black people who have money. It's weird because they say that they're part of the establishment, whatever.
They sold out.
It's worse than that. He says it makes them think black people can have money in America, which is such a racist mentality. I didn't get started on that.
Guess what?
Anyway,
it's possible because they do.
Right. So she was talking about, she had already earlier gone off on Oprah Winfrey for being a black capitalist, and she shouldn't be a president because I don't like black capitalists. I go, why did you put in the word black on the end of that? That's kind of weird. She goes, oh, well, black capitalists are just as bad as white capitalists. Yeah, but you only call white capitalists capitalists. You call black capitalists black capitalists. What's up with that? Anyway, so later on, she's the same one that was like, I'm glad Kobe died in the fire. So then, but later she said she was mad at Oprah Winfrey because she believed Oprah Winfrey was gay, and she should come out and tell everyone she's gay because she could save so many people who are gay who are committing suicide because they're being picked on.
That's laughable.
I said, dude, I was like, dude, usually I wouldn't respond. I said, all right, let me stop you right there. One, do you know what year Oprah Winfrey started doing what she was doing? 1983. Do you really think that let's just assume that you're right, that if Oprah Winfrey just came out in 1983 and said, I'm gay as a black woman trying to break through, that you would be hearing about her now?
No.
She's like, well, that shouldn't matter. But if she did it, she wouldn't be in a position to do what you wanted her to do in the first place.
That's right.
She's like, oh, well, that's not the point. Well, what is the point then? The point is just to go off on a black woman for being rich and not telling people she's gay? I don't know what your point is.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a point. They don't really care about saving gay people. They just want to say something about this Oprah Winfrey. They just want to say something and be like, I'm for gay people, blah, 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 blah. It's not real. Like, this person I'm talking about should have her own sitcom. Because she was also she's a white woman who's like, I call white women Karen every time I see them get out of line. I go, dude, you are the epitome of that. And I did tell her that. She's like, wait, you think that's, well, yeah, I guess I do the same thing. So why are you mocking other people who do it? Well, I just think it's empowering. I'm helping my black allies. I said, no, you're not helping any black people at all. You're trying to pretend like you're not the person that you're going off on to make yourself look good. It's making things worse. She's like, I just don't feel like you can really be in a position to tell me that.
And does this person still associate with you?
Not really, not on social media, because finally she started talking about my family online. I go, whoa, wait a minute. She's never met them. But she was just like, I finally was like, look, I'm more worried about you than COVID or the police. And she was like, okay, well, I'll just, But
as I've said before, we're never going to get past anything until you change the hearts and minds of people, and to make things better and to treat. And again, people are not the same. People are different. However, you need to treat people the same. And there's a big difference between people being all the same and treating them equally. Okay. Until you stop saying black people, white people, gay people, poor people, trans people, and just say people. Okay. Just say people. I'm on Facebook. I don't post nearly like I used to. Probably 90% of my posts, or in fact, definitely 90% of my posts are either my podcasts when I publish them, or to Jaguar, old Jaguar restoration sites. Okay, or a machinist manufacturing site. Okay, that's 90% of what I do. Okay, but if you are interested in restoring old Jaguars. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, black or white, gay, straight, trans. The link that we have, the commonality that we have is we like old Jaguars and we're restoring them. Leave it at that. It's like anything else. As I get older, I find the solutions to problems aren't nearly as complex as I once thought they were. The solution to most all problems, the solution is very, very simple. The implementation, however, is not necessarily easy, because all we have to do is just accept one another for what they are. But doing that is probably the most difficult thing known to man.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, it serves certain people's purposes to not let people do that.
Unfortunately, you're right.
You know, if you have, and when people have an axe to grind, and you want to get someone else to join one with you, you throw in the race thing, you throw in the gender thing, or whatever, the sexual orientation, or whatever the correct term is. And that's the whole thing, is that you had the Black Lives Matter thing, but then there were too many, black folks, particularly black men, who didn't agree enough. So then you throw in the LGBT and the feminism thing, so now all your straight black men are in trouble. Well, then you had some LGBT people, you want to get some of them in trouble. So now you add the trans, that way everyone is in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that no one is, quote, protected. And that way everyone can be silenced. Oh, well, you're not X. You don't have this category. So whatever point you had, I remember you and I you were having a conversation with somebody on my Facebook page, and these two women, I think one of them identifies as non-binary or something. Yeah, there's a woman who identifies as non-binary. She's a white woman, as I remembered her, said that you shouldn't really be talking because you were a man.
Right, I remember that.
And I was like, well, wait a minute, I'm talking to him. You guys are on my page telling me who I can talk to. And this person that I'm talking about has like one of the worst kind of tones when this person talks to me, and in person online. It's very weird and very disrespectful. I'm not assuming they're racist, but their assumption is if you're a man and you have too much of an edge to your tone, that means that you're being sexist. If I applied that to this person who's very white, I could assume that they're racist. Now, I don't do that, but then you have to start thinking that if they're sitting around saying, oh, well, if you're saying this, you're a sexist. If it's a white person who's saying that, I'm naturally going to go, wait a minute, you're sounding twice as shitty to me. So now I'm thinking, so I can't help it. So I'm guilty. We're all guilty of it. You can't help but to notice gender, racial, and orientation differences if other people are bringing them up, which is why black people talk. Black people would love not to talk about being black. Black people didn't come up with this stuff. Black folks would love to just not have to deal with it. They tried that for 100 years. And then certain people, the white power establishment, wouldn't let them. And so that's where the black consciousness came from. It's not like, hey, we want to be black because we want to deal with this crap. No. But you hear things and all of a sudden you think about it because people keep, making you deal with it, including other black people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, yes, I would love to just us all be people, but like you as a man, you don't want to deal with being a man as a central thing. But if people are saying, well, you as a white male, James Strong, you don't have a right to say this and that, then you're going to start going, well, you know what? Forget you.
Sure.
And I don't think you'd be human if you didn't sometimes have those emotions.
You're right, and that's what makes us human. But again, there's the whole what is your intent? I mean, there's saying things just because you say things that are perceived as being racist or homophobic or whatever does not necessarily mean that you're a racist or homophobic person. And the example that I'll use is I know a fella who he was raised in the country. Not around black people at all. He just doesn't. He's not around black people. Okay, he is not racist at all. And he was referring to this black guy, and he referred to him as that colored fella.
Right.
And I told him, I said, you, and this guy's younger than I am. And I said, you do know that nobody says colored fella anymore. He said, they don't. Right. I said, yeah. That's just not a term that's used anymore. I said, well, is it bad? I said, I don't know that it's bad, but just you're probably best served if you don't use it. He said, oh, okay. And he's never used it again. He didn't mean anything
Right.
bad by it.
Right.
But
Right.
but just that term